Understanding a cat requires setting aside human assumptions and looking at the precise biological mechanisms that shape how these animals move, communicate, and process their environment. This week on Kittenology, we put our findings together into a complete picture of feline existence. We examine how evolutionary pressures forge their physical agility, how subtle physical cues structure their social language, how internal maintenance impacts their daily energy, and how specialized metabolism changes what is safe in their living spaces. By examining these distinct findings side by side, we can trace the exact distance between human perception and feline biology. A cat moves through the world using a physical apparatus built for quick precision rather than prolonged work. Evolutionary pressure shaped both their sprint speed and their strict endurance limits, creating a predator built for explosive bursts rather than long chases. That dynamic is visible in their skeletal mechanics. Switch off the hind limb power behind a cat's jump, and the animal loses its primary means of elevation. Remove the tail as a counterweight, and the delicate balance required for rapid adjustments disappears. Their narrow balance beam gait, where direct register walking places the hind paws precisely into the footprints of the front paws, hides a level of joint alignment that most observers never notice. This precise gait changes how you read your cat during everyday movement. That same balance is reflected in the riding reflex, which contains a structural detail in the mid-air rotation that everyone walks past when watching a fall. Sensory design follows this same principle of specialized limits. The rod-to-cone ratio in a cat's retina came from selective pressure for low-light hunting. Behind the retina, the tapetum lucidum reflects light to enhance vision in darkness, altering how you read your cat's gaze when light strikes their eyes. This visual setup works alongside dynamic pupil dilation, an evolutionary response that serves as a direct signal of emotional state and immediate focus. High above human auditory limits, a cat's ultrasonic hearing range detects movements and frequencies we cannot hear, shaping what living with a cat requires in a human home. Around the face, a cat's whiskers function as high-sensitivity spatial tools. What a cat's whiskers mean for daily life is that every passage, doorway, and opening is continuously measured by tactile feedback before the body ever commits to moving through it. The social behavior of cats is often misunderstood because human observers attempt to map human body language directly onto feline anatomy. When measured against the human body, the incomplete domestication of the cat becomes obvious, as their behavioral routines mirror wild ancestors far more than domesticated working animals. Consider their vocal vocabulary. The maternal trill originated as a specific nursery call between mothers and kittens, rooted in physical resonance. The yowl evolved to solve long-distance communication and territorial negotiation across wide distances. Other physical signals regulate close-up interactions. The vocabulary of tail positions, when measured against human posture, reveals precise social intentions. Head bunting provides clear scent marking and bond reinforcement, yet there is a specific social situation that head bunting cannot handle when boundaries must be established. Remove the slow blink, and you break the primary visual mechanism cats use to broadcast peaceful intentions and reduce social tension. Take away kneading, and you alter an infantile comfort behavior that persists into adulthood. Other behaviors are bound by physical limits. Burying waste is a deep instinct for concealment, but it has a clear physical limit. Remove burying waste entirely, and the social and territorial dynamics between household animals immediately break down. The pull of a cardboard box actually holds a record for enclosed spatial preference, drawing cats in through a combination of thermal efficiency and security. When a cat sniffs intensely, it uses the vomeronasal organ, which sits right next to the human equivalent anatomically, yet functions through the Feline response to analyze complex chemical signals. Common myths fall apart under physical examination too. The story about cats staring at an empty corner does not survive checking when sensory limits are accounted for. Even plant responses are age-dependent. Kittens ignore catnip entirely, as the characteristic reaction only appears somewhere around 3 to 6 months. In one study, only 4 of 39 cats under 12 weeks reacted to catnip. Maintaining a feline body requires continuous biological expenditure that comes at a measurable cost. Sleeping up to 16 hours a day is not mere laziness, it is the price exacted by high-intensity predatory biology, balancing metabolic recovery against energy output. Sensory processing carries costs as well. Whisker fatigue places a heavy burden on the nervous system when sensitive facial hair experiences constant stimulation, hiding stress signals that owners never notice until behavior shifts. When the whisker regrowth cycle goes wrong, spatial navigation and tactile perception are disrupted until new shafts mature. On the exterior coat, guard hairs and undercoat work together as a complex thermal barrier. What is physically happening in guard hairs and undercoat is a double-layer defense system that traps insulating air while repelling moisture, though nobody mentions the heavy metabolic cost of constantly producing and shedding these specialized fibers. Beneath the fur, claw maintenance is equally continuous. The periodic shedding of a claw sheath reveals a fresh point beneath, representing a structural aspect of claw renewal that nobody mentions when discussing claw care. Internally, physical mechanisms operate under strict genetic rules. Genetic expression reaches a visual peak in coat patterns, where X inactivation in a tortoiseshell coat holds a biological record for visible chromosome mapping. Deeper in the vascular system, a precise step-by-step mechanism determines cat blood types A, B, and AB, governing compatibility and immune responses. Thermal regulation reveals further physiological limits. Placing panting in a cat right next to the same thing in a person shows how inefficient open-mouth cooling is for felines compared to humans, serving as a clear warning sign of extreme heat stress or distress. The internal chemistry of the cat separates them entirely from human and canine nutritional rules. At the core of their biology is obligate carnivore metabolism, a evolutionary pathway that eliminated key metabolic synthesis routes in favor of strict meat processing. A detail everyone walks past in obligate carnivore metabolism is their absolute dependency on specific preformed nutrients. This unique evolutionary pathway produced extreme paracetamol toxicity in cats, leaving them without the liver enzymes needed to break down common pain relief compounds. Understanding this specialized chemistry highlights why human food preparations do not translate to feline safety. While humans might enjoy perfect fluffy pancakes with maple syrup or homemade cinnamon rolls with cream cheese icing, human culinary ingredients present severe risks when exposed to feline digestion. Assuming dog toxin lists apply to cats is the actual danger in household safety. This false assumption makes people panic about xylitol while shrugging at onions, even though cats are the most sensitive species alive to onion toxicity. Other common kitchen items present mechanical and chemical hazards. Raw bread dough turns a cat's stomach into a proofing box at 38 degrees Celsius. The dough keeps rising in the warm environment, while the active yeast produces ethanol directly inside the stomach. Liquid toxins enter the system through surprising pathways. Alcohol reaches cats by a route it never reaches dogs, because cats actively groom it off their fur and paws, including accidentally spilled hand sanitizer. This changes how we manage everyday household hygiene products. Strict dietary balance is equally critical. An all-raw fish diet destroys a cat's thiamine reserves over time, and the clinical sign to know is ventriflexion, where the head drops downward toward the chest due to severe muscle weakness. Even classic treats require strict quantitative understanding. A milk saucer is a dose problem rather than a pure poison. Most adult cats can handle about 1.3 grams of lactose per kilo of body weight. For a typical 3.5 kilogram cat, that equals roughly 100 milliliters of cow's milk before gastrointestinal distress occurs.